Mr. Ronan Uhel, who's the Executive Director and a Scientific Counselor for the European Environment Agency. Today he's going to talk to us about the Green Pact and just transition. I'm going to introduce a new agenda by the EU for the Mediterranean. Mr. Ronan, you'll have the floor for 20 minutes. We're going to be sharing your screen from here, so whenever you need us to pass to the next slide, please let us know by saying next. And please do not mute the audio on your side so that you can hear our communication in case of any technical issues. You have the floor for 20 minutes. Go ahead.
Merci beaucoup et un grand merci à vous pour cette invitation. Il me semble que je vais devoir parler en anglais parce que j'ai un retour de la traduction dans mon oreillette. So very sorry for that. I would like indeed to introduce you to a new policy agenda that has already been referred to in your debate so far. The reason why I would like to make you fully aware of this agenda is because it is something highly, highly different, non-conventional, and something which is really geared towards transformation of our political structures and interventions at the European level. And this is really a change that occurred overnight. It is not something that at the European level we saw coming. And it was really by the nomination of the new governance of the EU, the so-called European Commission, that all of a sudden a very integrative and very transformative agenda was put on the table of the European Union. And this transformative agenda is indeed addressing in full, very cohesively, the objectives of sustainable development. The key point here is to say that by revisiting from top to bottom what will be the political procedures and political processes to lead the European Union to sustainability are very much indeed embedded into a kind of, let's say, consideration that it is definitely indeed by the EU for the EU, but it is very much the EU at the global level, and it is very much the EU with its neighbors. And this is something which is absolutely critical to understand, because this is the second part of my intervention to you today, to say that once the Green Deal has been sort of articulated and fully structured and completely shaped out, then it was followed up by what it would mean for the very guidance of the Euro-Mediterranean Partnership. And then in February this year, the European Commission has suggested to the European Parliament and the European Council a new and revised partnership with the Southern Neighbourhood. So this is what I would like to indeed bring to you today, and it is very much from a very practical experience perspective, because what is of high interest is to say that this new political agenda is really based on the willingness of our leaders to really transform Europe's economy and society towards a societal and very sustainable and highly inclusive community by the next years. What you have to appreciate as well is that this agenda is a political agenda for the very term of the European Commission with an articulated agenda until 24. So we are already 1 year into the implementation of the new agenda, and this is what I would like to go through. So what it means is that without any kind of preparatory work, the political infrastructure has been completely modified to articulate one central objective, around which then all the thematic policies will be articulated to deliver in full. And this is what you have on this sort of very schematic representation of what we are talking about here when we say the Green Deal, le Pacte Vert. It is very much indeed to sort of mobilize all our capacities to define a number of policies that will be converging all together through their implementation and through their definition to a very different performance of the European community economy, and a very, very sort of sustainable resilience of our society in the future. And all of that is to respond to the many crises that everyone throughout the globe, throughout the planet, throughout the region is confronted with. To say that we have indeed a kind of combined effects of many crises, being a climate crisis, being a sanitary crisis, being a financial economic crisis, being an ecological crisis, etc. And the point about the Green Deal is to say we have to respond to them all at once. And why can we do that? Because all these crises are systemic by nature. So we have to address indeed the very drivers of our systemic crisis. And the drivers, we will find them into our different models of development. It will be the mobility transport system, it will be the energy system, it will be the food system, it will be the cities, it will be the housing system, etc. So, and the bottom line of all of it is to say, all these systems interact, because they all depend on our mobilization and exploitation of resources, which very often are part of what we call the natural capital. So we need to really make our societies more socio-ecological than technical and political that we have ever been doing. So in this context, what do we have? We have a set of very new policies, which you have here, and it starts, of course, with carbon neutrality, which is nothing else but a plan to decarbonize our economies and transport and energy systems. This is coming with very explicit, normative, prescriptive objectives, and it is coming with different means to realize its objectives. And these objectives, of course, will be transformed into kind of very, very profound technical measures, and all of it will be indeed completely monitored to really measure progress and implementation as we go along. But this is really something which is done in complete connection with other domains, because we cannot really act on decarbonization of the economy and transport system or energy system without looking at what it means from a kind of food productivity. So it impacts on the food system, it impacts on the health system, it impacts on the housing system. So all of it is very much indeed to make sure that we will have the means to tackle all these policies at once, and the only means will be, of course, from a budgetary and financing perspective. And this is what you have here. So what has been done in a period of 6 months at the European level is that the banking sector, the financing sector, all the experts in this very, very complex sectoral domain have been put together for a 6 months working reflection, and to say, please design a process whereby we can deliver on what would be called a new sustainable taxonomy for European financing of the Green Deal. And this taxonomy is now coming to the fore, because this taxonomy will go indeed directly at the very core of the business strategies, of the industrial strategies, which will have to respond to, for instance, a zero pollution objective. So all these financing projects have been indeed dealt with from criteria which are defining very explicitly very technically what are indeed the conditionalities. So around 6 objectives that would make indeed environmentally sustainable and targeting the very sectors of our economy and society where they would have to apply that. So you can see on the slide that it is indeed the entire economy which is impacted by this new conditionality and this reporting obligations. Next slide, please. So, in order to do that, you cannot just do that from a top-down perspective. That's absolutely clear. And being so transformative and being so prescriptive into identifying what should be indeed the performance criteria, our political leaders have created a sort of conditions for the society itself to be completely involved. And by society, we mean indeed the different stakeholders, the local, the regional authorities, the different representatives of civil society, the economic actors, etc. And the thing is, okay, we need to create platforms where we're going to sort of exchange, when we're going to pool our resources. And you have a couple of activities, like, for instance, the European Bauhaus, which is a very, very fascinating place, and using all the technologies of today from a digital perspective, where people can exchange indeed plans and new design theories when it comes, for instance, to city management and turning things to connected cities, to green cities, etc. But all of it can only happen if it is connected to a financing platform. And this financing platform being indeed completely also designed to make sure that no one will be left behind. And this is where, through the cohesion policies, the transition that we have to sort of embark on will be supported by a sort of financing mechanism additional to the taxonomy, which will go to the regions, to the cities, to the local authorities, for them to have the means. And this is a package then in terms of financing that went for a huge discussion at the European level, and to say we need to adopt at the EU level a completely, entirely new budget for that, which will be unprecedented in terms of public and private investment partnerships, but which would be at the very, very necessary sort of intensity that is required, for instance, to decarbonize our industrial sector or to decarbonize our transport sector. So the EU budget has tripled in amount, but has indeed embedded into it a particular fund for a just transition to help indeed those who might indeed be impacted by this transformation. Next slide. So all of that, which is happening right now as we speak in Europe, and you may have heard about the different new policies in place for climate change, for biodiversity, for zero pollution, for new industrialization, for new energy, and the support to renewables and different grid system, etc. All of that has been sort of captured into the offer that Europe is making to its neighbors, in particular Mediterranean countries, to say we need to go for a new partnership. And we would like to come to you, countries around the Mediterranean, with a proposal. And the proposal is to say we would like to sort of extend the Green Deal approach to our partnership. And we will come indeed with an extension of our financing capacities to have this process. So this is very much what is at the core of the new Mediterranean Partnership as proposed in February. Next slide. And this is definitely then an opportunity for all the countries, Algeria of course included, in discussion with the EU representation to sort of visit, I would say, the opportunities and really understand that sustainability is not any longer a concept, because sustainability is becoming a kind of political infrastructure from the European side, where the European side is ready to sort of contribute and help and finance some of its applications at the country level around the Mediterranean. So this new agenda is also based on the new instruments that EU can offer. And that's why it is very much a collaboration that can really start and that can really achieve a number of results. Next slide, please. So all this information are very much indeed completely available, and for your committee in particular, there will be easy accessibility to sort of all the proposals and opportunities which are now on the table, and the different domains where intervention and collaborations and new projects can be envisioned. All of that is completely available through this communication, and you can see on this slide that it covers indeed the full spectrum from a societal perspective, from ecology to climate to security to governance. So with that, I would like to very much thank you all for listening to it, but really trying here to make sure that there is the necessary understanding of what the Green Deal is all about, and it's not just a concept. It is a political reality from the European side with all the instruments to implement it in full. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rohan. We appreciate your intervention. Any questions? We'll try to start with those who did not get to ask before. So, go ahead, Mr. Bouhajouja.
Merci. Je remercie M. Ronan Uhel, qui est bien placé au niveau de l'Agence européenne pour l'environnement. On vient d'apprendre, bien qu'on était un peu au courant, sur le pacte vert et la nouvelle action de transition juste dans l'Union européenne. Et surtout qui est axé sur une feuille de route à l'horizon 2040 et la décarbonisation des politiques publiques, notamment économiques, etc., pour avoir un plan carbone à 2050. Et moi, je me réjouis surtout de la dernière information concernant les opportunités offertes en Algérie, pour l'Algérie, en matière de soutien à ces politiques de développement durable. Alors j'aimerais bien avoir des précisions, bien que vous dites qu'elles sont sur un site dans lequel le CNES pourrait en profiter. Est-ce qu'il y a des conditionnalités à cela pour avoir des soutiens de l'Union européenne, ou bien est-ce que c'est dans les accords bilatéraux ou bien multilatéraux? J'aimerais bien avoir des explications là-dessus. Merci.
This is indeed already happening when it comes to communicating on these opportunities offered by this new strategy. The European Commission has organized meetings at the high level to inform about what this new collaboration entails and how this new collaboration should take place. And information meetings were already run, and now bilateral discussions are being sort of taking place. And I think for the case of Algeria, there is already embedded into the new strategy a sort of pre-identification of priority areas where this collaboration should indeed take place. And this is part of the communication that is available from the website of the European Commission, but I would be pretty certain that your own Ministry of Foreign Affairs or European Affairs in Nigeria will have all the necessary documents at your disposal. And that will be certainly the case as well from the EU delegation in Algiers.
Perfect. Let's take another question. Since I don't see any other hands, go ahead, sir.
Merci, monsieur, pour votre communication. Elle a été très enrichissante pour l'intérêt de la région de la Méditerranée. On sait que l'Europe dépense chaque année 700 milliards d'euros dans la médecine, ou bien pour les maladies non transmissibles. C'est dû à la nourriture, la qualité de la nourriture. Vu que l'Algérie représente un grand potentiel pour la production des oligophénols, ce que la nourriture, l'alimécament, ce qu'on appelle la nourriture de bonne santé, de bien-être. Donc, les 700 milliards d'euros qui est dépensé en Europe, c'est les dépensé dans le sud de la Méditerranée, dans le Maghreb, et notamment en Algérie. Elle va créer une richesse pour la région de la Méditerranée, pour l'Algérie et les pays du nord de l'Afrique, et aussi pour le reste du monde, le bien-être du reste du monde, parce que notre potentiel agricole, il peut alimenter tous les pays du monde, il peut donner le bien-être et la santé pour tous les pays du monde, notamment l'huile d'olive, les dattes, les oranges, les amandes, etc., etc. Ce qu'on appelle la nourriture les oméga 3. C'est ce qui est produit dans le sud de l'Europe. Mais en sachant que les 85% de l'espace mondial des 4 saisons qui peut produire les oligophénols se situe en Algérie. Et merci.
Indeed, it would have been a pleasure to respond to you en français, but I can't do this due to this technical issue. So three elements to complement the point you just made, which is very important. The first is that following the COVID situation, this very aspect of sanitary sort of diseases, etc., is capturing more political attention. So that's a key point, and it is a transboundary issue.